So after 7 days in Anwa with nothing to show for all their work but a mouthful of dirt, they packed up the trucks and headed even further south to a region called the Kem-Kem.
Now this is real desert. Very few people live out here, and guess why? It can get as hot as 130 degrees and no air conditioning.
There's a certain aura about the Sahara because they're so little known. And a vastness that you get when you enter the Sahara, which you don't get anywhere else in the world. It's awe-inspiring when you're in the field and you realize how much of this land has never been walked before.
What about those footprints right there?
That's just a mirage, Sam. The desert can play tricks on your mind.
Whoa, you're freaking me out.
But Paul dreams of finding the real thing. Fossil evidence of how African dinosaurs lived and died in the mysterious Mesozoic.
Looks like Paul and his friends are in a hurry to find out. They've got the pedal to the metal. And they're gonna put the hammer down. 10-4. And the dig continues. Let's get back to the desert.
Sam, I'm sorry, but I cannot take you seriously with that fake mustache.
Fake? What makes you think this is fake?
Because, I'll show you. That's what a real mustache looks like.
All right, you got me. But I was just paying tribute to my man, Paul Sereno.
Well, your man and his team are starting to look a little bit tired.
Can you blame them? So far, the more they search, the less they find. That's got my man Paul pretty bummed out.
There's such a lore about this part of the Sahara with the early finds. I thought that bone might be more plentiful. It would be easier to find fossils than it actually was. And after about 2 weeks of being in the desert, we understood the odds we were against, which was that it was going to be quite difficult to actually walk out of here with some new dinosaurs.
Things are starting to look pretty bleak.
But while there's still time, this crew isn't about to give up. So night after night, they go back to their campsite empty-handed.
Pretty harsh.
But they don't lose hope. Out in the desert, it's all about positive attitude. And it can pay off big time. In fact, the next morning, Gabe turned a potential fashion nightmare into the find of a lifetime.
Well, the morning had started out on a wrong foot. Literally, one of my boots had been plunged into water, and so we opened up the truck, and it was time to go prospecting, and I decided to prospect in one boot and one sandal, and had spent the day with a little bit of trepidation on every rock. It came time to go back for lunch, and I said to Jeff, I said, oh, I'll meet you at the truck, 'cause I'm going to go the long way around. It's easier to get down.
Gabrielle, all of a sudden, didn't come back for lunch on time, and we got very worried.
On the way, I stumbled over an incredible find. At the time, I didn't know it.
And we went running out to find her after almost an hour had passed.
I saw one bone, I saw another bone, and I was trying to get them, and I knew I was going to be late for lunch.
And we eventually did find her, and she came down with these strange bones.
And they were running around calling my name, going, Gabe! And I'm like, I'm fine, I'm okay.
Everyone was pumped. Finally, some serious bones.
And they started uncovering Gabe's lucky discovery right away. After 5 days of careful digging, they finally uncovered all of the bones. But now, before they could move them, they had to pack them.
This is one of my favorite parts. They get these giant rolls of tin foil and wrap the fossils in it. The world's oldest leftovers.
Dinosaur, the other white meat.
They've got to make sure that it's really tight, like Jeff is doing here, so that no fragments can be knocked loose.
Next, the team wraps the bones in these burlap strips that have been dipped in plaster. When it dries, it's like an outer shell that'll protect them on the long road back to the lab.
It's like the cast I got when I broke my arm in 2nd grade.
Yeah, except that your bone was only 8 years old.
Hey, a cast is a cast, man.
Anyway, with everything wrapped, they loaded up the fossils and headed back to camp.
And that's where Paul realized just what they'd found, and it seriously freaked him out.
It was midnight of that long, long day that I went into the shelter that we had the bones stored in, and I picked up the first fragment and put it right into place on one of the other pieces. As the hours passed, my eyes were just really, I just couldn't believe what was being assembled in front of me.
4 in the morning, Paul came over to my cot and was like, Gabe.
I was tears in my eyes. I said, you don't know what we've discovered.
I discovered something absolutely incredible. You're never going to believe it.
What we were seeing was a map of a single skeleton, a very strange one. I had a very important announcement to the crew. I assembled them all.